Hello, welcome to the Tech Growth Show. Super happy to have Trav on here from Quantum Impact. Trav, welcome.
Thank you, man. Excited to be here.
Very good, very good. So, can you tell us a little bit about what drove you to found Quantum Impact and what are you guys implementing? What's new? What's going on?
Yeah, it's a big and good loaded question.
Yeah.
We founded Quantum Impact. Myself and Seth, my partner, he was looking at starting an AI business. I was looking at starting an AI business. We both have a background in consulting. I dabbled in marketing, copywriting, website building for over 10 years, just kind of jumping around to where can I help small businesses. And as my skill set grew, I kind of realized, okay, I want to stay on the edge of what's leading, but how do I do that? And then the AI wave hit, right? And so I was like, oh, geez, I need to get into this. Start obviously the journey of dabbling with GPT and other things. But I quickly found out that there's a pretty interesting landscape to AI. A lot of businesses have entered it in the right way. A lot of businesses have entered it the wrong way. And I feel like there's a lost element there, and that's kind of the human element. And so discovering Seth and Seth discovering me, we kind of put our heads together. And instead of launching something separately, we decided to do Quantum Impact, which is taking a human-centered focus towards AI. We really believe that it's not about replacing your employee. It's not about getting the fastest ROI. It's about empowering who you have and
Okay.
kind of doing things a little bit differently. And I know that that's kind of cliche. Everybody says doing it differently, but we really try to put people forward in the process because at the end of the day, human creativity is the best element of your business. Removing yourself from the loop is how you lose. And so that's kind of why we started Quantum Impact in a nutshell.
Okay, for sure. And you mentioned there like mistakes people make. Like, what mistakes do you think businesses often make when it comes to AI?
Oh, that's a good one. Top three, obviously at the top is the human element, and that's a really hard one. Not to rant, you'll find that I can rant about this subject quite a bit. But I will say that, as we entered the foray of the fourth industrial revolution, right, this amazing landscape that we're in, there's a weird stigma. There's a weird, people are still scared of AI. People's obviously change is the only thing that we can ever count on in the universe, right? It's the one constant. But when it comes to this, it's not looked at as like when Excel came out, right? Or the car or the iPhone. It's much scarier than that for people, and for good reason, because big businesses, some of them had their own employees training themselves out of a job, by using AI for a year, and then they just have these massive layoffs. And so it's a trepidous thing for companies, especially small businesses. And that's just at the large scale. Then you get into the idea of decision fatigue, right? For AI. And while that's part of one of the elements, everything has 1,000 solutions to every problem. And that's just not the reality for every business.
Yeah. Okay. And like, what are the biggest ways you guys use AI within your own business? Like, what are the big things going on there?
So we have a bunch of internal infrastructure processes of AI and how it supports what we do.
Hmm.
As a newer AI company, just kind of getting out, we literally opened the floodgates like less than 30 days ago to start a
Oh,
client acquisition,
there you
taking,
go.
I mean, a cumulative probably 40 or 50 years between the consulting team that we have of experience and kind of
Mhm.
putting our head here. We like to use everything from GPT to other popular AI platforms. We're trying to stay more centered to tools that aren't necessarily like churn and burn model. And I don't know if you're familiar with ClickBank otherwise, but there's a lot of great affiliate products out there. This in no way is to knock those, but it's very
Yep.
tempting for starting entrepreneurs or influencers or solopreneurs, if you will, on like
Mhm.
TikTok to find a new fad and like, white label product and then just promote it everywhere. And oftentimes those products, while they're good, they haven't necessarily gone through a huge element of testing. And so there's this beautiful sales page, there's this beautiful intake process, and it promises the moon. And the reality is when you get into that product, you're sort of like an alpha user, not
Mhm.
even necessarily in the beta phase. Like 90% of it kind of functions, and then something happens, or it's just doesn't have the setup that an average business owner needs. When
Mhm.
somebody goes into business for themselves, whether it's, I have an Etsy shop and I'm selling my creations and I need something to support my process, or
Mhm.
I have 25 employees and I manufacture one of the coolest products in the world. You are really good at what you do. It's like a real estate agent. You're really great at selling houses, and you should be in front of people selling houses all day long, not
Yep.
answering 95 of the same questions. That's what an FAQ section's for. That's what
Right.
an intelligent agent who can clone you is for, right? That's not necessarily what the creative spark that you were destined to do in your business is. And so,
Mhm.
as a business owner, you see this product and it's amazing, and it's $97, and then there's an upsell. And by the time you know it, you spent like $1,200 on a product that requires API keys, and it isn't necessarily user friendly, and it doesn't have tutorials built in, and then you're stuck. And
Yeah.
it's hard. It's a hard wheel to keep
Mhm.
business owners on.
Okay, and how do you communicate that to business owners, right? Because people are scared of AI, people don't
Yeah.
understand AI. How have you found either what's worked or what hasn't to communicate that, what you just said, like to business owners? How has that gone for you?
In our consulting process, again, still being relatively new to just intaking clients on the AI side,
Mhm.
but bringing our past experience in and with the clients that we have had so far, what has been working is decomplexifying.
Mhm.
It's like going to your favorite restaurant and removing 80 of the 120 choices on the menu.
Yeah.
It's just, it takes the decision fatigue out. It helps understand exactly what that business needs. And I think that's really where the element comes in, is asking the right questions, right? Positioning AI in a way that it's here to support you, empower you. It's kind of like in the movie The Matrix, where they get in that super suit and they're fighting like those sentinels.
Yep.
It's meant to be an exosuit. It's not meant to replace you. It's meant to
Mhm.
empower and enhance, with you leading the charge, your creativity, your focus, and it kind of supporting that journey even as it
Mhm.
grows. And so we really try to uncover exactly what's going to work for your business. Like, what are your pain points? And then let's actually find a process that supports you for your budget or under your budget. Let's make sure that it's going to stand the test of time, because that's the other thing too. Especially, everything changes, and obviously there's going to be a better product that comes out later. But if we can position something that's going to last for you, it's like an iPhone. You don't go like, if you buy an iPhone 14, 15 right now, you're not gonna you're not gonna be out of that phone in 5 years, right? I think like the Lindsey Sterling concert that was just shot and is blowing up on TikTok was shot with a refurbished iPhone 6, and it's
Oh wow.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And so like the idea is, if you build a product or process for
Mhm.
somebody that can sustain and support their journey, then I think that you're gonna win.
Okay, for sure. And how you mentioned you guys are literally just 30 days out of the gate. What have you guys found? What are you guys currently using, I guess, for the client acquisition side of things?
A lot of direct outreach.
Yeah.
That's kind of been the best thing for us. There's a huge trend right now of um, I would say smaller agencies, and we consider ourselves a smaller agency. Hopefully, grow one day and put people forward in an AI centric way, in a human
Yeah.
centric way. But I think that there's a really big fad right now of everybody jumping on like Play and Hunter and Apollo, and
Mhm.
matching this new wave of, oh, we can get 700,000 emails right now, and then we can max chat with like an email sending bot that has 14 domains, and then you just blast it out to the world. And the reality is like that takes all of the personalization out of it. You're
Mhm.
just churning people at that point. And so
Mhm.
what we like to do is, if we have a direct partnership that we think might work, or if we think we can offer a business good services, we like to do a
Mhm.
bit of research on them, understand who they are, learn about them, really send a tailored message. Hey, I
Mhm.
saw your TED talk about this. I took 20 minutes and spent it on your website. I think we can
Yeah.
help you even grow more.
Yeah.
That's kind of what's been working for us so far.
Okay. And you said it takes the personalization out. How do you balance that with, there's all these AI prompts. If you really wanted to, you could almost make a pretty customized, pretty personalized email there. Like what would be your response to that? And people who are able to do that effectively or not, I don't know. But like what would be your response to that?
Super good question. Super good question. Good stuff in, good stuff out. Junk in, junk out.
Okay.
We've behind the scenes are kind of working on an agentic approach. We for QI, we are focused on things that are not going to change, right? DIY, DWY, and DFY, done for you, done, do it with you, and do it yourself. That's never going
Mhm.
to change. It's no matter the business model. A
Yeah.
hundred years from now, people are still going to be selling services or products that answer one of those things, right? And the people that have the money to spend and don't want to go learn a new skill set, it's going to be done for you. And the people
Mhm.
that have time and not the budget, it's going to be do it yourself. And so we're kind of in the background working on an agentic approach to help people in the DIY section to match a tailored tool to what they need, that
Mhm.
can help them if they don't need a $5,000 consulting contract, or even a $1,500 tool integration that's going to go off and make them six figures. Like
Mm.
That's where we want to be. We want to have a good impact. Obviously, everybody wants to make money at the end of the day, but the bigger thing is if we can save somebody a lot of money and get them big results, and it's
Mhm.
sustainable, right? I used to do a lot of coaching and consulting for businesses, and my kind of mantra was like, if we're still working together after 6 months, I think we've done it wrong, right?
Mm.
Like, my stuff was I set it up for you, and it should work.
Yeah,
I shouldn't be the linchpin in your process, right? And so that's kind of what we're trying to do. But even for that agentic approach, like you said, writing good copy, taking how do we not take the personalization out of it? It comes down to time and data, not like the end-to-end encryption, make sure it's all here. Where does Dropbox talk to XYZ? No, no, no. Like good time spent training your agent to remember that you're talking to humans, you're
mm,
using their data in an ethical way,
yeah,
and you're actually using somebody's time, right?
yeah.
That I think is the missing element. And there's
Mm.
easy ways to do that that doesn't take up $40,000 of an investment or
Yeah,
25 human hours to learn.
for sure. Okay.
There I go, ranting again. Sorry,
No, it's
a good
no,
question, man.
no, it's all good. It's all good. Well, so the byproduct of asking a good question. And what it, so you guys have just been doing like the personalized direct outreach. So would that be like LinkedIn or like what actual platforms?
LinkedIn, email. We are trying something new with this kind of back end agentic approach that might turn out very very well. Um, the idea is that regardless of any platform, like we just had a really good conversation with somebody on LinkedIn who asked a good question, and I kind of love the back and forth. That old hat comes back on when it comes to like engagement with people online. I just really love even. I feel like reciprocity is always going to be the winning element of business. If you can provide immense value up front, people will trust you. They will want to do
Absolutely.
business with you. They
Yeah.
will understand that your brand has integrity. And I feel like that's wickedly important, regardless of whatever you're selling. And it creates this like automatic filtering process. And if our social content, like if, because again, still being brand new, but I'm hoping that in a month, right, well into January, February, if I look at our social content and it stings that like, oh, we're just giving away the keys to the kingdom,
Yep.
that is going to tell me that we're on the right path because the people who need help and don't want to do it themselves and they don't want to go learn how to code their own agent to support onboarding so their people can feel more connected to their business,
Yeah.
then great. They're going to have that in front of them. And if it works for them, we've done a service to a business and you got what you need from us and you don't have to spend a dime. But for
Mhm.
the people that do need more help, we'll be here for you. And you have a friend in the AI business.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I know you're again relatively early, but what do you feel like has been the biggest challenge in, growing QI's uh revenue given that you guys are an AI focused company?
You are coming out with banger questions, sir. These are good ones. Niche specialization. The
Okay.
only thing I can attribute it to is, I had a good like 2.5 year stint where I built websites. And the cool thing is everybody needed a website. This was back in like 2016, 2017. I was really, hammering down on it. And everybody needs a website, but then really talking to them about like how their website's going to function and what they're going to do with it. And they're like, oh, I need a website to then go promote my business. And they didn't even like build the strategies for their business. And so they kind of get lost in the process. It's like you have an AI business and GPT can do so many good things. There's amazing tools out there. Perplexity. There's so many good tools that you can put into somebody's business. Even Canva now has like built-in AI with agent like roaming around in it, helping you make templates faster, and it's wonderful. And everybody's jumping on this.
Yeah.
But the reality is it's very easy. And even in the first like 3 weeks of promotion, we were kind of getting caught up. And the biggest fail, like, I think one of the biggest fails we had, just openly, is a lack of very specific demographic targeting, right?
Okay.
And and the challenge is I really can empower everybody. You have businesses that are working in warehouses with wearables. Even the Ray-Ban, the Meta Ray-Bans right now, you're able to look and go, is this 93 degrees? Because that's what we cut our product to. And that's a
Mm.
$300 installation for their business,
Yeah.
right? Right? Even GPT, the ROI is ridiculous on it, and it costs $20 a month. I mean, OpenAI is 12 Days of Christmas right now, blowing people's minds. But for us as a business, that was really easy to go like, hey, we can help you with AI. We have some consultants that work for Google. We have prompt engineers. We have
Mhm.
like, how can we help your business? And the reality is that's obviously not going to speak their language. And it took even now, it took a good 3.5 weeks to jump back into my like marketing copywriter hat and go, no, 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 no. Real estate agents, listen up.
Mhm.
Going out and answering the same question 45 times sucks. Let me help you with that.
Yeah.
Right? Finding the right houses and writing articles for them in your brand voice in a way that bypasses AI detectors because it's based upon your writing and it
Mhm.
sounds like you. I mean, even like Jordan Peterson, psychologist, he's I think he used GPT like a year ago and he uploaded forget how many, I'm going to misquote it, but it was a good number of manuscripts and otherwise. And he's like, write me a book in my voice and make it sound like me. And I want to just make sure that nobody could tell it was written by AI. It should seem like I wrote it. And he read it and he's like, I couldn't tell it wasn't me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, what we want to do and where we've really, at least in these last, cut us a good time, like 2 weeks, have shifted our marketing focus into,
Okay.
okay, we need to go into like direct industry speaking their language.
Yeah.
What's your solution?
Absolutely. And what industries are you guys looking at right now, given that?
Good question. Real estate is a really really great one.
Hmm.
Small businesses, we're starting to craft specific campaigns around small businesses that have needs that are just time intensive. So like a really great example is like let me pull it. Okay, so like there are CBD shops popping up over the United States everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. And their business owners is like, oh, I know where to source good products and I know how to get a good location and I know how to do all this other stuff. But then they get into it and the reality is they're spending like 14 hours a week on inventory and they're still managing parts of their website. And then they're asked, like, they have people coming to their website, but no way to capture the traffic and no way to interact with people. And they haven't even, some of them haven't even built a website and they're 7-figure businesses. Right. There's one local to my house and I was having a great conversation with him. He's like, I don't have a website. And he's like, I pull in over 7 figures a year and I'm really excited. But I'm like, how much time do you spend on inventory? He said like 12 hours. And there's a number of different other tasks. And it's him and 3 others running a 7-figure business. It's a real
Yeah.
retail location and they're just switching out hats when they need to. And the reality is I can take a picture of his wall, say, build me a spreadsheet based on the products that he has here. And
Yeah.
then also phase two, find me places to source those products for cheaper for you. You get the same
Mhm.
products and save you more money. And for him,
Yeah.
that ROI is immediately perceptible.
Yeah. Okay. And one of the things with real estate agents, I've spoken with quite a few, is they get marketed to like no other. They get
Mhm.
10 cold calls a day. They get 100 cold emails a day. Like, how are you planning to go after them given that?
I think the personalization process, and again, we don't have a huge data set right now. I've had a
Yeah.
couple of real estate clients in the past, and at least what I've found in working with them is speaking to their specific pain points,
Hmm.
right? Honoring their brand, respecting who they are, finding out. I think it comes down to getting the ability to even have a small micro conversation with them, because I
Yeah.
find that that human element, at least from my perspective, comes out immediately. I love to
Mhm.
talk about people's pain points. I love to talk about fun ways and making it exciting, not like
Yeah.
a clinical like, okay, well, sure, there's processes that no, 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 no. Like you said you had 2 kids. What do you do? Let's talk about that. Right.
Yeah.
I want to know about their life. They love doing these things, and that, but they tell me they're spending 14 hours a month on this,
Hmm.
or even a week sometimes on stuff they hate. And I'm like, no, no, no. You should be spending that time with your kids. I can do this thing for you. Here's what it costs. Let's save you money. Let's see if it works. That's I feel like a very easy conversation to have, but it, like you said, it's getting past that 10 10 cold calls a day, the
Yeah.
emails, so personalizing it. If they've done a TED
Mhm.
talk, I'm going to listen to that TED talk.
Yeah.
I might learn something. They're obviously an expert in their field. The second we feel like we know everything, we know nothing. And so I love learning about companies that might have a potential to work with because it's great for me on the front end and I learn from them. And then I have the best foot in the door to actually spend 15 minutes writing them a great email. And I feel like that over time is going to convert those clients that would find a quality symbiotic relationship with us.
Mhm. Absolutely. And one of the best things, a good gauge you can use to assess how good any discovery call, sales call with somebody is how long would the biography be of their life that you could write. If it's only a page, you don't know enough about them to be able to sell to them.
Wow, that's fire.
There you
That's fire
go.
right there. I love that.
Very good. And what metrics do you focus on to make sure that you're driving the growth in the right direction? And again, you're still getting the feelers out there, but what are the main metrics you guys look on? All right, we got this, we know we're good.
I right now we're in that kind of, like you said, that chasm of
Yeah.
we're shifting marketing focus. We're hoping to bring on tons of clients. For me, um, again, back to that, like jumping around as a freelancer for the last 10 years, doing everything from copy conversion to analytics, website stuff. I geek out on the numbers. I
Yeah.
love looking at conversions. I love the psychology behind stuff. But the
Mhm.
reason I like the psychology is because I like the consumer journey. I really like mapping out from the perspective of the customer, how do we get them to the result the fastest while still building trust, while still building brand integrity, and creating a relationship that grows in a very synergistic way.
Mm.
If I provide a product to a customer, product needs to get them ROI, not from like a, oh, I guarantee results. No, no, no. Like, hey, we've worked together. You've paid me real money. I want to know, did it work? If it didn't,
Yeah.
if they come back to me with a question a month down the line, and I'm going to ask, like, did you put in all the appropriate time? Did you follow all the steps? Did it work? Right. And I want to make sure it's working before I even leave. Right. But the
Mhm.
idea is that metric should govern the relationship, the lifetime value. Right.
Yeah.
It's hard because those metrics are always like, what's your LTV on that customer, that number? And like, God, it's so easy to look at the spreadsheets and go, oh yeah, the number of customers. It's like, okay, what about the specific customer, right? As that customer grows through our journey, like if I could magically wand the next 5 years, each of our customers, I should be able to look at a wonderful report of where they purchased from us, they won. It's like the
Mhm.
hero's journey, right? It follows that clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the fantasy genre. They bought something from us, so they work with us. They won. There
Yeah.
was a success. Then they bought something else from us or needed our services again, and there
Mhm.
was a success or a failure, but that failure better translate to data that will then empower a win, right?
Okay.
And so that's I think going to be the most important metric as we go forward.
Okay. And provided you get that metric dialed in, what is your vision for quantum impact going into 2025, or I guess at the end of 2025? Like, what do you guys want to have achieved?
Brand thought leadership. I want to help businesses. I want to help small businesses to large businesses. Even if you're a solopreneur, I want to have a DIY, a WI, DFY solution for you that
Mm.
does not break the bank. It works with your budget. I want to remove the idea of us being an agency like we're not now, but there's always that, like, there's that sales training that you get on the very front end, that's like, well, first off, start by asking them their budget. That's going to let you know what they have to work with. And it's like, no, 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 no. I'm not going to charge you more than somebody has 6 times your budget because, like, why would no? That takes it out. I want to position Quantum Impact as a thought leadership
Mm.
company in the AI space, human centric, human in the loop. We attack AI and human integration from an ethical standpoint.
Mm.
We don't replace jobs. We empower people, people who have been displaced from jobs. I want to find a product or service otherwise, and we've got this kind of on the back burner right now. That's the other thing where I mean, you have a successful, wonderful business. Is like you get in, and as an entrepreneur, I think Grant Cardone and a few others talk about like the shiny object syndrome. It's very,
Yep.
it's there. It's so there. Especially the second you get a modicum of success, you're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is working, and then you're like, wait, wait, and it's like, so what we've had to do, especially in this industry, is get really smart. And we use Asana. Is put it having an entire back burner.
Yeah.
Everything's on the back burner right now. But
Yeah.
Q3, I would love, love, love to have a product that takes displaced or laid off workers and helps
Mm.
them upskill in a way that doesn't charge them hundreds or thousands of dollars, or maybe it's even part of severance or otherwise.
Yeah.
Something that could help people reintegrate themselves into a society that's going to change without them, and
Mhm.
it should not change without them. It really should not.
Yeah.
It's not going away. And so it's like Excel. You could have been the best calculator expert in the world back doing finance and numbers. And the reality is when Excel came out, things are going to change, but they can change with you, and you can you can recondition all of that level of expertise you have in a good way. But what is left out, the element that we're hoping to be, is there's nothing that helps that transition,
Yeah.
right? There's not a company out there that helps that reskilling, that does it in a way that puts people first. It's usually about the bottom line. And I
Yeah.
think there's a balance to be found. There's a bridge there.
Mhm. And then what's the number one thing you have to get right in order to make sure you do become that thought leader? Like, what's the number one thing?
Boiling it down to one thing. Hmm. I think a resonance in our messaging,
Okay.
not changing our voice based on industry patterns or otherwise,
Yeah.
staying consistent in our vision,
Hmm.
and then ensuring that whatever we build, right? We've got platform ideas, we've got, one of the ideas I was just telling you about, it's another product idea, and obviously consulting is the heart of this. Getting in front
Hmm.
of businesses, helping, even large scale businesses with facilitation, as we're in working with their marketing departments, as we're in working with their HR departments and their leadership, really embodying the idea that AI can be that tool.
Okay.
And I think that that's going to be the most important thing for us, is making sure that the technology that we build, whether it's from the top down, a very, very expensive product, all the way down to GPT, that it supports that vision. At no
Mhm.
point should anything that we ever put out or that we sell or that we position as consulting
Mhm.
should go against that standard.
Okay. And just curious, like, what do you feel like has been your biggest frustration? I mean, there's always frustrations. Like, what do you think has been your biggest frustration so far? Yeah, running the
Not to
company.
piggyback on the other answer, the
Sure.
targeting of AI, because it
Okay.
was so, especially at the beginning. I mean, and I say that as if we're not less than like 6 months old.
Yeah.
I would say that the the excitement at going out and going, we can help you because we can, and we're here,
Yeah.
and look, and let's, well, yeah, that's really easy. But to quote, I got two kids at home. I know that some people are like, oh, they say their hobbies. Like for me, it's fantasy stuff, obviously AI,
Yeah.
and spending time with my kids. They're just way cooler than I am. If I died tomorrow, I've done my job, because I can look and go, yeah, they are like version 5, version 6. They took everything that was right with me and just did it better.
Yeah.
And they're 5 and 3,
Yeah.
and I'm so proud of them.
That's awesome.
But to quote The Incredibles
Mhm.
directly, if everybody is super,
Yeah.
nobody is, and that's the reality. We can't. We need to make sure we're speaking people's specific language. So that's been the biggest
Mhm.
frustration, is kind of just ensuring that we're going to be able to position ourselves in a way with a large net
Yeah.
that helps people understand, like, hey, here's a great entry point for you. And that just
Mhm.
takes time, man hours. And, we've got smart automations supporting that. But again,
Mhm.
our smart automations are, if you could save 100 hours with AI, we're going to
Yeah.
save you 70,
Yeah.
right? We're going to save you 7. If you want to replace 14 of your hours in inventory, we're not going to replace 14. You're not going to be out of the loop. We're going to replace 12 and a half. And now you can just go have coffee with your best friend,
Yeah.
during the week, instead of spending the other 12 and a half. We need to make sure we leave ourselves in the loop. And so that's been the biggest frustration. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. Fair enough. Awesome. Well, Trav, very much appreciate this conversation today.
Thank you, man.
Where can people find you if they're wanting to get in contact? Maybe they
Love
have
that.
some AI needs.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Quantumimpact.ai is the best way to find us.
Okay.
Just head to the website. We have a bunch of free resources there. We tried it, like I said earlier. We'll always try to give away more than we get. That's kind of the nature of value, in my opinion. This has been fun. I really appreciate you bringing me on, man. I
Of
love what
course.
you do. I took some time to research you and what you guys do. It's really fantastic. It was a pleasure to be here.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.